They are Heat icons and culture carriers.
Having both of them together, you don't really realize the effect that they're going to have over the next 15 years.
Something that we've built is huge, and it's way bigger than the game of basketball.
In an unprecedented interview, these legends start at the beginning.
That's Udonis Haslem. I was like, no, that ain't.
And reminisce about reaching the ultimate goal.
I give all the credit to Udonis, man. You did it for us, dog.
It's like a 1,000-pound weight off my shoulder, man.
Distance never broke their bond, and a loss of a loved one ultimately brought them back together.
We just had this conversation. Hank's still looking out for us.
Wade, tough shot. Got it! This is his house right now!
The huge question going on right now in Miami is, whose house?
You told me that I have this portion and you have this portion. Yeah, we share.
And their legacy will infinitely be linked.
They're going to talk about us individually, but they're always going to talk about us together.
Inside the Heat, UD and D-Wade. Oh, the snap! Come on! Hello and welcome to this very special edition of Inside the Heat. I'm your host, Jason Jackson. For the past 15 years, Udonis Haslem and Dwyane Wade have been an integral part of the Miami Heat franchise. So for the very first time in the history of Inside the Heat, Udonis and Dwyane sat down together, just the two of them, to discuss the many people, places, and memories that have cultivated the bond they share. As a spectator, it was an extraordinary interview to be a part of, and for the next 60 minutes, you will learn why.
So in 2003, what was your impression of the city of Miami when you first came down?
Whoa. So
Coming from Chicago.
Yeah. So I'm from Chicago, and I went to school in Milwaukee. So I ain't seen sun too much. I didn't grow up seeing palm trees and water and all these things like that. When I came down here the day I got drafted, and after my press conference, I kind of went out to the city. And I looked around and I was just like, this is what I dreamed of as a kid when I thought of paradise. When I was like, one day I want to go to paradise. It was Miami. And it was just like a new world to me. So my impression of Miami was it was really like a foreign country to me when I first got down here.
I'm a lot different than my first impression of Miami. But so when you met me, what was your first impression when you met me when we first met?
Okay.
I can remember what I thought when I first met you.
So for me, you remember I came a little late to like the training camp before we was going to Orlando for the what was it?
Yeah, you didn't have
Summer League.
Yeah, you didn't have to do all the stuff I had to do.
Yeah, so I used my the fifth pick draft status to come in a little late.
Yeah.
So I come in and we practicing, and I see this guy, and he's diving all the way out of bounds. He's running through everybody. He's getting every rebound. So I turn to somebody and I say, who is this? And they was like, that's Udonis Haslem. I was like, no, that ain't. Because Udonis Haslem I know was about 150 pounds heavier than he is. So I didn't even know who you was for the first 2 days. I just saw somebody that was working their tail off, and I could tell if it was a loose ball, you was gonna be the one. You better get on that ground before you, because your legs is gonna be taken out. So my first impression was I like that guy. That guy would do anything, to make sure he win. But then when I found out you was Udonis Haslem, the guy I watched at Florida, I was like, he reinvented himself. He reinvented his body.
Yeah, I was a fat boy. You can go ahead and say it.
He was a little heavier.
Yeah, I was a little chubby boy. I was quick on my feet, though.
Yeah,
things was moving back then. So I can tell you the first time I met you, actually, I didn't know much about you personally, but I had a friend of mine who's very into college sports. So obviously when the draft happened and, you were drafted, and the first thing he said to me, he was like, yo, y'all got that boy Dwyane Wade. I was like, who? He was like, D-Wade. I was like, where you go to school at? He was like, Marquette. You ain't see what he did to Kentucky in the tournament? So he goes on to talk about, everything you did to Kentucky in the tournament. And I was like, okay, nice. But once again, I had never seen you play, you know what I'm saying? So you coming in and I saw you the first day and I was like, okay, he make plays, play defense, he block shots. When I got home that day, I told my home, I said, okay. I said, you was right about the boy Wade. That boy nice. Obviously not knowing how our relationship would grow. That summer, spending a lot of time together that summer, I think when our relationship started to grow. Hanging out a lot, working out a lot. I remember that time, at that time it was it conditioning at the track? Then we would come over here.
Oh yeah, the conditioning at the track,
listen, our whole day. We would condition at the track. We would come over here and we would lift. Then we would go through our individual basketball drills and stuff, and then we would go play pickup over at Overtime Youth Center for Zova. Then sometimes we would come back and work out again later at night. So we spend a lot of time together. So I think naturally our relationship started growing. We started to find out we had a lot of similarities as far as our background, how we grew up, you know, how we were raised. So I think that was probably the first step into creating a relationship and the bond that we have.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was, you know, I come from a small community of people, and I never really, besides the guys you meet in college that, you know, you go to war with those guys and some of them become your brothers possibly and possibly not, but I didn't have a lot of friends growing up. My circle was always kept tight. I was very quiet. I was very to myself. So when I came here, I was the same way. I kind of was standoffish, but when I got on that court, I was a different person. And then getting the opportunity to be around you and, like, we hung out and it was your city, so I'm like, yo, you, like, we were staying at the Mutiny together and I'd call you like, yo, let's go hang out, let's do this and that. Then we started, like, gaining that bond that I never even had from a standpoint of, like, as a young adult. I never had that kind of relationship with somebody that, one, like, I respect this guy. I like hanging around him. Like, I like how I feel when I'm around him. And also on the court, like, I know he's a dog. Like, I'm a dog, you know what I mean? Without having to say anything, even though we're different, we're similar in ways. So, you know, I kind of like that.
And I always respected that too, because we're so different, but we're so similar in a lot of ways. You know what I'm saying? You know, for me to, like, be a dog and you to be a dog, and to understand that, you know, that it doesn't have to be the way I am, or it doesn't have to be the way you are, but we still respect that we both bring that to the table. And that's something that, you know, it's not always easy to understand, because everybody says, oh, I do it this way, that's how you should do it. Or he does it that way, that's how you should do it. But we always had that respect for one another, that, you know, he does it his way, I do it my way, and at the end, we still get the same results.
So our rookie year, we start off slow. You know, we was like 0-7. I remember feeling like we was never going to win a basketball game in our life. But we started off slow, and then we eventually started, you know, getting better, getting more confidence as the All-Star break. And then after All-Star break, we go into this tear.
Oh, what a play! Oh, my God! He jumped right out of the building! He's Superman! What a block by Haslem! LeBron James put it up, and Haslem hit it out.
With Dwyane and UD, you had a chemistry. You had two players who were great when it came to creating this teamwork and being together, and a real confidence. UD was a defender. He would lay it on the line. He would do everything he had to do to help Dwyane score. He was a great screener.
Lost the handle, they throw it out, way we go. 3-1 show time, behind the head.
Dwyane made the offensive side of the ball seem so easy, and how he could score and drive to the basket. And by the way, most of the drives to the baskets were probably opened up by great screens by Udonis along the way.
Wade drives in for the runner.
The first thing I remember realizing about that team is, like you said, we started off slow. And I remember a conversation that I had with Eddie Jones, because in college, you know, the season is not as long. You don't play as many games in a row. So in college, if you lose a game, you got a week before you play again. So you got a week to think about what you did wrong. You got a week to, like, kind of let it go away and get to the next game. And I remember Eddie telling me, hey, young fella, we got another one tomorrow. Right. And I'm like, damn, I ain't got no time to grieve. Figure out what I did wrong. I just got to get on to the next. So I remember that conversation with Eddie. And then I also remember that, you know, how hard we worked. So I knew we were just one step away from getting over.
We had a great group of guys. We had a fun group.
And we had fun. So I knew we were a couple steps away. I just didn't know when we were gonna have our breakthrough.
Welcome back to Inside the Heat. Udonis Haslem and Dwyane Wade started something special with the Heat back in 2003 and built off that momentum. They had tasted success in the playoffs, but it was in 2006 that they climbed the ultimate mountaintop. And as they share with us more about these NBA Finals memories, we will finally discover the truth behind the locker room celebration.
Well, I think every time you are fortunate enough to be able to have two players like UD and like Dwyane, become part of your franchise in one season, and unbeknownst to you, you don't really realize the effect that they're going to have over the next 15 years. I just remember in 2006 when both of them really in their prime, and we're playing in Game 6 in Dallas. The three biggest plays that were made in the fourth quarter were made by Udonis Haslem.
Jason Williams won't go. Haslem the rebound, puts it back up and banks it in. Wade spinning, falling away. It's good.
Dwyane was always going to be Michael Jordan-esque in the offensive pressure that he had on him and what he had to bring to the table.
Wade right at Daniels. Tough shot. Count it and a foul. Oh, man.
Having both of them together, like-minded, same kind of guys, real brotherhood feeling between the two of them, it just doesn't get better than that.
Well, here we go. 7 seconds left in the game. Dallas down 3. Terry shoots the 3. No good. Miami has won. Miami is NBA champs. The Heat have won it. We're NBA champions.
All right, so we're going to talk about 2006. Look, we both smile when we say 2006. So tell me, being a Miami boy, somebody who was born and raised here that followed Zoe, that followed Tim, that followed Masburn, that followed all these guys, tell me how you felt when we won that championship.
Boy, the city is mine. Can't wait to get home. I mean, I think it was a lot of emotion going through me at that time. I think it was a 1,000-pound weight lifted off my shoulders, for my personal journey, and obviously the disappointment of not being drafted, the opportunity to come and play for my home, and to bring a first championship to the city of Miami, and it played a huge, huge part in that.
Congratulations, 2006 MVP, Dwyane Wade.
First of all, I just want to thank God for giving us the strength, the courage, the tenacity to fight through all the doubters all year and come out on top.
On behalf of tens of millions of basketball fans around the world, congratulations, Miami Heat, 2006 NBA champions.
They talk about me, leading this team in MVP for scoring, but Udonis was the reason we won the series because his defense on Dirk, on a great play on Dirk and James Posey. So I give all the credit to Udonis, man. You did it for us, dog.
Top of the world.
Udonis, this is obviously an emotional situation for you beyond anybody in this room, not taking anything away from your teammates, but talk to us about being in this town when this team started, getting out of college, having to go overseas, come back, make this team, and be a critical part of the victory tonight.
Man, it's like a 1,000-pound weight off my shoulders, man, because nobody never gave me a chance. Nobody never gave me nothing. And I just continued to work hard. I'm just thankful.
It was just so many emotions going through my body at that time. It was just overwhelming. And then the champagne was burning my eyes, and I got a little teardrop.
Okay, yeah, so I wanted to get to that. I wanted to get to that. So your story,
at that time, we didn't know that the goggles, because first of all, we was broke. We ain't never had champagne.
Right.
So we had champipple. That's what we drank, champipple.
Right.
So we never had champagne, and we didn't know about championships, so we didn't know we were supposed to put on goggles, and y'all was spraying it all over the place recklessly, and it got in my eye.
Okay, so let's clarify that while we're sitting here on camera. So if it got in your eye, then your eye will get it'll burn and it'll get a little water.
Yeah.
But if I remember correctly, the interview that you did, your voice sounded like the cry voice. Man, so that right there wasn't champagne. That was some deep down emotion right there that came out.
All right, man, all right, I cried. So what? I ain't nothing spray to say I cried. I'm a man. I cried, but it was an emotional moment.
What was that? Like, what was that coming out, that crying?
It was a lot of things, It was a lot of people saying I couldn't, I remember to this day, you know what I mean? Articles written, when I signed with the Miami Heat and different things, and people criticizing and saying, no, I can't do this, I can't do that, or different things like that. So it was just a lot of things that I had, and I'm the type of person that I don't forget. I don't forget a lot of things that people say, and I just use them as motivation. So, to be able to do what I was able to do, and also, I mean, it's not take away from the fact that you know, one of the top players that has ever played this game of basketball, you know, one of the top competitors, you know, Dirk Nowitzki, I feel like helped me take my game to another level, you know what I'm saying? Because at that time I had never faced a player like that. I had never seen a player like that at his height, his skill level. So, you know, it was a lot of things. You know, I overcame a lot of obstacles. So I think I did have a nice little breakdown, you know what I'm saying, after I overcame all those obstacles. So, you know, it was a lot of things, a lot of emotions that I couldn't control.
For the first time in franchise history, the promises have been kept. There'll be a parade down Biscayne Boulevard.
Every day more and more I'm starting to realize exactly what this means.
This is the best feeling right here. We're going to celebrate without fans.
This moment right now belongs to 2006 NBA World Champs. You won it all with character, courage, skill, and will. Your accomplishments will be remembered and enjoyed in this house and in our hearts forever.
Welcome back to Inside the Heat. After leading Miami to the organization's first championship in 2006, Udonis Haslem and Dwyane Wade were not done yet. In fact, they were just getting started. As they sat down together and continued to take us down memory lane, one thing was clear: they always had each other's back.
We just talked about 2003 and kind of how our brotherhood was kind of built. So 2012, I remember I go to the basket and out of nowhere I get hit. Bow. Felt like I got punched.
Wade looks like he got hit pretty hard.
Yeah. So I hit the deck, and I remember this. We go into a timeout, and I see your face, and I say, "You, just let it go, bro. We got him." Let's talk about what happened next.
I blacked out. I don't remember. I blacked out. I don't remember. But see, if people remember that series, you know, I had just got hit the game before, where I had stitches.
It's getting chippy between the Pacers and the Heat.
Things are getting very, very physical. Well, they've been physical throughout this series.
It was one of those things where, okay, I can take it, you know what I'm saying? But you always know how I feel like when we out in the court, we competing. You know what I'm saying? I always got your back. And it was one of those situations where I was like, okay, now enough is enough. I took my licks. I can give them and I can take them. Now they coming over there and they messing with you, and I understand how important you are. I understand how important Bron was. I understand how important CB was. I understand how important you guys was to our success. And I told you and I told Spo, listen, stay out of this. It ain't got nothing to do with y'all.
Stay out of this. And I'm like you, but I am a part of this.
No, at that time, stay out of this. Stay out of this. Just leave it alone. Just stay out of this. But at the end of the day, man, I've always respected how you respond to that kind of stuff. Because me, when that stuff happens, I see red. When that stuff happens to you, your game goes to another level, and you're able to stay in the boundaries of the game and then kick butt on the court.
Wade up with it, got it and fouled. Oh, the circus is in town.
You do not pull on Superman's cape.
And that's Wade at his best.
Once again, we different, but we still want the same results at the end of the day. So, I mean, my emotions just took over once again. I'm an emotional person.
I wasn't mad at you for what you did. I was inside. I was like,
man, listen, it was the perfect time. I didn't ask for it to happen like that, man. Everything happened for a reason.
For this Miami Heat team, the road was not easy in these playoffs. Down 2-1 Indiana, facing elimination against the Celtic team, down 3-2. Each series presented a challenge for them.
3, 2, 1, victoria, campeón, campeón del mundo, Miami Heat. For the second time in franchise history, there'll be another parade down beautiful Biscayne Boulevard.
Let's go to 2013, another one of these gold moments for us.
The support people at the arena are preparing the yellow rope around the court for the celebration. Miami fans don't want to see that happen.
I remember being on the free throw line, and I'm seeing them bring out that rope.
Man.
And I remember thinking, like, man, not again. Not this feeling again.
Manu Ginobili will go to the line again with the Spurs leading by 4. An absolute stunning turnaround in the final minute and a half.
Awful feeling. It's an awful feeling, man. Awful feeling. I mean, we've been, you know, in so many championship games. And our first one, we were so naive to think that, you know, we can just keep doing it. But as the seasons start to carry on and the seasons start to add up, then you realize how lucky you are, how fortunate you are to be in that situation. So just thinking that that situation was going to slip away from us, it was a hurting feeling. And, you know, you always want to hold on, you always want to have faith, but you just never know in situations like that.
Ginobili, meanwhile, misses what could be a huge free throw. There's still plenty of time, 28.2 remaining.
But I know that if we had any kind of guys that we would need to come out of a situation like that, we had those guys. Yeah. We had those guys. I mean, we had the guys that can overcome any obstacle on the basketball court. So there's always hope when you got guys like that.
Rebound tipped, still loose, picked up by Miller. Back out to James, another three. It's good! James knocks it down. 2-point game with 20 seconds remaining. I think they tested us. Yeah, they tested us a lot. They tested us mentally, you know, more than any other team. I don't think it was more so physical. I think it was just a mental test that we had to go through. So, you know, what were some of the things that you were dealing with as far as going through with that series, and you know, how you feel when they were bringing those things out and everything?
I think you said it best. Let's go to the start of the finals. We walk out. Normally, by the time you get to the finals, you ain't really shaking hands and smiling with people. By the time you go out there before the game started, about the tip, let's go, let's get out there. We walk out with the Spurs, everybody, hey, how you doing?
Yeah, they want to shake hands.
Hey, how's your kids? You know, so right away, it's playing a mental game on you. You like, no, I don't want to talk about my kids. Like, I'm mad. I want to be angry. I want to be focused. But that series, like you said, I felt that for us we won in 06, we won in 12, but I felt for us to really look at ourselves in the mirror and say that we did something special. We really felt like we earned these championships. We had to go through the Spurs. We had to go through the Spurs, and we had an opportunity to go to them, and I was like, this is it. This is gonna make our legacy if we can get this finals. And not only they challenged us mentally, not only was physically I was dealing with a lot, not only was we down in certain moments where, I ain't gonna lie to you, when Kawhi was at that free throw line and we was down, I put my head down. I said, just like everybody in the arena, not again. This ain't happening to us again.
A lot of pressure on a 21-year-old in his first NBA Finals.
So Leonard at the line. First one on its way. Rimmed out.
Whoa!
Oh, a one-possession ball game now.
But we still had to take that ball out, and we still had to go the other way, so we still had life.
James catches, puts up a three. Won't go. Rebound box. Back out to Allen. His three-pointer. Bang! Tie game with 5 seconds remaining.
They challenged us in so many ways, man, but we needed that. There was no way I was going to feel good about them 3 rings if we didn't go through the Spurs.
I agree with that 100%. I mean, when you think about championships and you think about legacies, you got to think about the Spurs. You got to put them up there for the consistency that they had. So to be able to go through them, I think that was a huge step for us.
It's back-to-back titles for the Heat.
The Larry O'Brien Trophy stays in South Florida.
The Miami Heat are going to be back-to-back champions of the basketball world.